move over to you, and then him, and then just talk about your channels and stuff like that.
All right. Okay. Go.
You ready? All right.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? This is our first podcast of the Broken Podcast, appropriately named. My name's Corey Jansen. I'm a YouTuber. Do gaming content, stuff like Let's Plays, gaming commentaries, and gaming news. Domstern.
Uh, hey guys, what's up? As Corey said, me and Corey are both on YouTube. I do pretty much some gameplays, unboxing videos, and some tech videos. That's basically it about me. You can go, Paul.
Yeah, this is That Damn Gamer. I do mostly Let's Plays. I'm going to break into doing reviews, first impressions, also hit the news.
All right. So I guess our first topic is the Xbox One doing a price cut to $399 with the Kinect being removed. What do you guys think about that?
Personally, I think it's about damn time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was one of the most hated things about it, and you know, they should have given people that option from the beginning.
Yeah, and then just by providing better games, that'll encourage these people that buy the Xbox One to go out there and buy the Kinect too.
Yeah, pretty much, because some gamers don't need the Kinect. They don't feel the need to go spend the extra $100 and get it. They can just buy the console for $400 now and just game on it.
Well, and on top of that, anyone that had the Kinect for the Xbox 360, it's still an unproven thing, or always had been. So we actually have to see what it can really do before it becomes a real commodity to anyone.
Yeah, and like right now, the only for sure thing that works pretty much all the time is the voice commands. But anything else, it really doesn't do anything. Like the games, there's no games for it and stuff. I don't know.
Well, and the few games that are for it are just broken to no end. So
yeah, and by having the Kinect on there, they dedicate a portion of the power to powering the Kinect. By removing it, it gives about, I think they said about 10% more power to the game, so we can get the resolution and frame rate up.
Oh.
Yeah, they should have definitely made the Kinect where it had its own power source, so it wouldn't be taking anything from the console itself. You know, even if it just had a one-core processor in there, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Because right now the Xbox One is, I'd say, struggling compared to the PS4 in just pure power and graphics and stuff like that.
Yeah, and for a while there, I was watching VG charts, and up until Titanfall came out, it looked like it was going to drop down to Wii U levels, and now it's back up pretty nice and high, but with them removing the Kinect, it might actually stay up there now.
Yeah, I totally agree, because now it's the same price as the PS4, so when some guy goes in a GameStop, he goes in there and sees both consoles are $399. Now he just has to make his decision on what games he wants to play, like via exclusives and like what his friends are on, instead of being the price dictating what console he gets.
Well, could it also be, besides the price, could it also be between the graphics that you get on the PS4 or Xbox One, which one has the best quality, and overall, which one's more powerful?
Yeah, well, and then one of the things that pushes sale for me is actually which controller you prefer too, because, for example, my PC, I've got a 360 controller, and that thing just feels really comfortable, whereas PlayStation controllers they kind of felt weird to me.
Yeah, same here, but coming from experience, I've played the PS4 for a little bit, and I gotta say that the new PlayStation controller feels really good. A huge improvement over the PS3 controller.
I agree with that.
Yeah, the last PlayStation controller I had in my hands was back in with the PS2, so that thing just angered me.
All right, and also Microsoft announced that they're going to be starting the program Games for Gold back up, starting with in June for with Halo and Max Curse or Brotherhood, I believe. And one big change that they're offering to this program is if you lose your Xbox Live Gold membership, you also lose access to the games, which Sony's doing that too. Uh, is this a good thing, or do you wish it was how it was before with the 360 era, where if you lose your Gold membership, you still have access to the games?
I personally think that it should stay the way it was on the 360 because basically what Microsoft I think is trying to do is make more money, and you're probably going to lose a bunch of gamers if these gamers get gold access to these free games and then I can't play it anymore once their gold runs out. So they have to spend more money to make Microsoft a bigger profit.
Yeah, because I have to really agree because I just got Origin for my PC not too long ago, and with that came a number of free games, and those games are mine forever as long as I decide to keep the you know my account, basically. So once a game is yours, it should be yours.
I also feel like I agree with you guys, but by doing this, it gives Microsoft the opportunity to give us more high quality games and bigger budget games, such as like Forza and stuff like that. Because looking at the 360 games with gold, there was no really big game that they're giving away. But if you look at PlayStation Plus, they give away huge games every month, which I kind of miss that Xbox doesn't do.
Yeah, well, that can really be a major driving force for any console trying to, you know, stake any claim. It actually may help out the Wii U if they did something like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. The Wii U really needs to do something to get its sales back up.
Yeah, they need to pull a rabbit out of their ass somewhere.
hmm The problem with the Wii U is, though, the console can't power any of these third-party games. It's too weak, too.
Yeah, how do you fit a big, huge, like, what's it, graphics card, all that hardware that's in the PS4 and the Xbox One? How would you fit that into that small box design that they're going for?
Well, that makes me glad that I'm not really a game designer just yet. So,
You can upgrade whenever you want.
well, that's one of the major reasons why I'm over on the PC is, there's no hassle for me. Something goes bad or something becomes underpowered, I can change that in with the click of a button, basically. But
hmm
Well, didn't the Xbox One just come out? Wasn't there some sort of news or something that you could change the internal drive on the Xbox One?
I mean, you can, but it's not like officially supported. You have to go around doing some hacks almost, downloading software. It's not as easy as doing it on a PC where you just buy a hard drive and just plug it in.
Or with Sony, right? So you can buy a PS4. It comes with the 500 gig. You can probably trade that out for a terabyte and have to do none of that.
Yeah. Xbox is more going towards external expansion, and Sony's doing more of internal expansion.
which personally I think I prefer the internal. Well, you take out the hard drive, but then instead of going for bigger, you slap in a solid state, and then you shouldn't really have any issues.
hmm You also get that big speed boost too by putting an SSD in there.
Yeah, that's majorly it right there. Is suddenly you've got power coming out of places you didn't know that you had.
So there's been a lot of leaks lately about Xbox and PlayStation for E3 this year. What do you guys think that both Sony and Microsoft have to and will do at E3 this year?
Really, Microsoft and Sony, and this goes for Nintendo as well, is show the games that everyone's been waiting for. The latest release that Microsoft stated is coming is Halo 5. They desperately need it. Uh, but the same thing's true with the other consoles. They gotta start putting out the games that everyone's been waiting for.
Yeah, I totally agree. Do you think that PlayStation will be showing off Uncharted this year? Or do you think?
Uh,
Go ahead.
Possibly. Has that actually been really announced?
I mean, they've been teasing it for a while now. I'm not sure if they'll be showing a gameplay or will it just be like a trailer.
Um, yeah, I think they'd probably at most show a trailer.
Trailer at the most for it because it's going to be a new game.
Yeah. Um. How? So talk about Halo 5 and that coming to the Xbox One and that they also said that. Well, not Microsoft officially didn't say it, but it's been leaked that they're going to be remaking Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the Xbox One, and it's also going to be coming out this year. Big for Microsoft because people who are on the Xbox One and didn't have an Xbox system before can play all the Halos and get some background and stuff like that. So when
What?
Halo 5 does come out, they know like what's going on and all.
I don't see the point in remaking Halo 4 besides just better graphics since we're going to a new console. But 1, 2, and 3, yeah, I would love to see those come back on the Xbox One for better graphics, and to redo the story mode would be perfect just in time for Halo 5.
Well, and plus one of the things that people really love is reverse compatibility, is being able to go back and replay the others, of which the only Halo game I played was the first one. So if I get the opportunity to take them one at a time all the way through, I'd probably take it.
Yeah, and then like, hi Dom, you said that you weren't really understanding why Halo 4 is gonna be remade in that, but for those people that really love Halo 4 and that just play that on a 360, be like, oh, I can get an upgraded version of that, better graphics, dedicated servers and stuff like that to upgrade. They will.
Yeah, that's pretty much like all I would have guessed was better graphics, higher processor, and then better matchmaking.
Mm-hmm. Uh, it's also been leaked that possibly Fallout 4 will be a trailer. Do you guys think this could be true or not? Or
That's pretty iffy at best, because Skyrim is now, I guess it's a little over 2 years, and Bethesda kind of takes, their sweet time, like 5, 6 years to produce their next game. So I think it might be a little early.
yeah, I think so too because I can't remember who said it, but they said that it's gonna be a while before Fallout 4 comes out. But it seems like we get all these leaks all the time that saying that Microsoft will be showing off a trailer of Fallout 4, which I really don't think is true.
Yeah, I think it's really too early right now to really expect something like that. Unless Elder Scrolls Online happens to be doing really damn good and they could double their staff. But kind of doubt it.
Yeah. Is there any game that you guys would really like to see Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo, for that fact, show off?
Well, Nintendo, they definitely need to show off Metroid, then a new Zelda, just to try to stay competitive. Those are their driving games. Microsoft, they really need to show off Halo 5. So,
I agree with that.
Do you think that Black Tusk, if you don't know, they're the ones that are making the Gears of War. Do you think they show off some type of trailer, a teaser trailer, or something like that?
I bet they would show off a teaser trailer to get us interested in it.
And like build the hype up and stuff like that?
Yeah, build the hype up for the actual game itself, and then later after E3, probably get like a official trailer on it.
Mm-hmm. I just have a feeling that this E3 it's gonna be a lot more games because it seemed like last year they were introducing these new consoles and they were talking a lot about that. But I feel like this year is just totally an overhaul of all these brand new awesome games coming out this year.
I agree. I agree. That's basically what E3 is just going to be this year. Just games upon games upon games.
Well, yeah, and I have to agree there too because I think they realized that at E3 everyone kind of got pissed off when they were showing off Facebook apps and crap like that, and it's like, we're here for the games. We're not here for social media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with
Go ahead.
Microsoft doing the TV announcement, that kind of pissed me off. It's like we're looking for a gaming console, not an entertainment system.
Yeah, and I was calling out with the Microsoft's game, their supposed live game feed and stuff like that. Killer Instinct. It's like I know that was pre-recorded. You can tell that the two people weren't really playing, so they actually need to bring something where real live gameplay is happening. So.
Mm-hmm. Uh, there's talk about EA and how they have one announced game that's supposed to be coming out later this year. That's supposed to be a big hit. Do you guys have any idea what game this will be?
That's kind of hard to say because we know that The Sims 4 is coming, but it's been fully announced. We just don't know when. And unless they're going to pull a new IP, I really can't think anything because their major stuff is kind of out.
Do you think Battlefield Police is a possible contender since it's been rumored for over a year now, I think?
I don't know. Is Battlefield 4 working yet?
No, it is nowhere near working.
I think they need to fix the game that they have before they really start trying to put out anything else. And that's been the story with EA lately. I'm a fan of The Sims, but I'm kind of wary about being an early adapter or adopter of that.
Yeah, it's been like how long? 7 months that Battlefield 4 has been out yet, and there's still so many bugs, and it's like unplayable still.
Yeah, that's really the thought behind it with me is if they're producing stuff that's just broken, they're gonna piss off gamers. They're gonna piss off everyone going,
But I think they've already done that, pissing off all the gamers.
though they haven't yet hit the Capcom level, I don't think. Because if they put out a new Battlefield, you can guarantee millions of people are still gonna buy it. Whereas
Yeah.
a new Street Fighter, it's kind of iffy.
Yeah.
And I like how a lot of these game developers and publishers lately have been postponing their games. Like, look at Watch Dogs and all these other Dying Light and stuff like that. They're all getting pushed back to really improve the experience and not turn it into like a Battlefield 4.
Yeah, I think that was a learning experience for everyone going, okay, we can't produce broken crap because they're going to get a boycott eventually. I see it coming.
And if game developers don't learn this, then they're just gonna keep losing money, and this could really hurt the gaming industry.
Yeah, which is why I'll personally push more and more towards indie developers because, granted, you're going to run into a lot of bad games, but you're going to run into games that are competing with the AAAs at times too. So, I kind of think that if EA or another big company like that should fall, they've got about 100 companies that would be willing to take their place.
Yeah, I
So-
totally agree.
So the competition's a lot more fierce to even stay in the spotlight than it's ever been.
Yeah, and if you look at it, a lot of these big name Sony developers have been leaving them and going to work for these smaller indie studios.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to say with that. Is that the smaller little indie studios, you're actually going to be bringing back something that I feel has been missing from gaming. is if you go back and look at the old Blizzard titles or back when it was Silicon and Synapse, you could feel how much they actually cared about the game when they were making it. And a number of games that we're running into is going, there's a new game for you.
Now all these game studios want is more money. They don't care about the actual game experience.
And it's going to come back and hit them.
So there's been a lot of talk about developers leaving, Sony losing a ton of money. They released their earnings a couple days ago, a week ago, I can't remember, but they lost a lot of money. Do you think Sony can turn around, or will they have to sell off the PlayStation brand?
They definitely won't sell off the PlayStation brand. Between that and movies, that's really the only thing that's keeping them afloat right now. Personally, I think that those might become the only things that Sony does.
Because they just sold off their computer business. Is that correct?
They're either just sold it off or they're still trying to sell it off. I'm not sure which one it is.
All right. Yeah, the PlayStation brand is doing really well right now, but Sony's overall company is not doing very well.
And that's the real scary thing. I'm at the age where I remember where every piece of electronics in my house was Sony. You know, that's a company you went to. But now, you know, I've got all kinds of different companies all over the place. So.
And a lot of fanboys out there will say, "Oh, I hope Sony does go bankrupt and PlayStation brand goes bankrupt too." But that's really bad because you need competition in this market. Look at what Microsoft did. They just got rid of the Kinect and got it to a lower price point. If Sony did not exist, they would never have done that.
Yeah. It was a couple days ago where I suddenly realized what should have been my saddest moment, although I was reveling in the fact at the time, but that was when Sega went under as a hardware developer. You know, honestly, we should be talking about the big four instead of the big three.
Yeah, and Nintendo really needs to do something to get the console back in the market where people actually consider it, because no one's really considering a Wii U right now.
Yeah, I'm considering one myself, but that's just because I've personally got a 4-year-old and he's just starting to learn to play games, and you know. But other than that, yeah, I'd be looking at PlayStation myself.
That's what I grew up on, is Nintendo. I think my very first game console was actually a handheld, was a Game Boy. I think it was the original Game Boy, actually.
That great big brick?
Yeah.
Yeah, my first console was actually the NES, you know. Or at least that's the console that solidified me as a gamer, you know, because I played the Atari, but yeah, Atari was irrelevant for, you know.
I basically grew up on the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, that was the first console where I actually bought with my own money.
And I know, the GameCube did not do, overall, that great, but one of my favorite games of all time is Mario Party 7. I don't know why, but it was just so much fun.
Well, especially a title like that, as soon as you get a group of friends together, because to me, one of the biggest advantages of having a Wii U is just about any of their 4-player games. You can get a bunch of pizzas, bunch of beers, bunch of buddies, and you're going to have a good time. You know, that's the advantage of having that console.
Yeah, and I've been hearing a lot of good reviews about the new Mario Kart 8, I believe, and it just seems like not enough people have a Wii U to go out there and play that game with their friends.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see how Mario Kart 8 and Smash Brothers actually affects their numbers. Those are some of the biggest titles that they have. Those are their console pushers. That and Zelda.
Yeah, I would be playing those games, but I just don't know if it's worth with it $250 now for a Wii U. I don't know if it's worth $250 to go out there and play a couple of those Nintendo exclusives.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the same look I'm having with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, is waiting for when they have enough exclusives are out for me to actually go, okay, it's worth me spending $400 on a console for these games, because one or two games isn't enough for me.
I see it like that way too. If you're gonna spend the money on a different console, most people I think would just buy one or the other console if it has better exclusives. That's basically just my opinion in it. I would rather wait till there's more exclusives on one console. Like I have the Xbox One, and I'm thinking about getting a PS4, but I would probably most likely wait for exclusive games and go buy those.
Yeah, because as far as third party goes, I personally don't care if what console has what third party, because if it's a multiplat, it's going to be on my PC. So it's not really that's not really any driving force. It's just the exclusives, and if they're good enough.
Mm-hmm. Um, so at GDC this year, Sony unveiled Project Morpheus, I believe. It's their VR headset, and Oculus has been working for a while now, which they got bought out by Facebook. A lot of gamers weren't happy with that, but Microsoft still hasn't showed off their official headset or stuff like that. But do you think this is like the future of gaming, VR headsets?
Personally, I think the real first early adopters will be those that are in the professional ranks or majorly competitive. Because once you're in that full VR situation, you might have a pretty good advantage against versus a controller or even mouse and keyboard. If it's based on your movements, you can be faster.
Mm-hmm. I just been hearing a lot of. I haven't actually tried out any VR headsets, but I've been hearing a lot of people saying how they get dizzy a lot and sick a lot. So they're really gonna have to improve that before it becomes a household gaming necessity.
Yeah, I believe with the Oculus Rift K2, I think that they are addressing that, but you can only pre-order it right now, so we don't know if that's really true or not.
Mm-hmm. And do you think Microsoft will be showing off one? Because I feel like if this does become successful, and PlayStation has one, PC has one, and Microsoft doesn't have one, I think a lot of gamers would be like, "Oh, let's go to PlayStation, or I'll go to PC." But if it would be really bad if Microsoft doesn't have a VR headset, in my opinion.
I highly doubt Microsoft wouldn't make their own official headset because they need that to stay competitive with the other consoles.
Yeah, and personally, I was surprised that the Wii U got made what it is, because with the motion controls that they had, and I was thinking back at the Virtual Boy going, they have everything they need to make another real stab at it, but they didn't do it.
Hmm.
I was disappointed with that.
I just have a feeling that the people that do adopt these VR headsets, it'll be a lot like the Kinect was, where you have a pretty small install base, and developers don't know if they should develop for it or not. And I have a feeling that the people that do develop for it will be more indie developers, not these big Ubisofts, EAs, and those types of companies.
Yeah, I can perfectly agree with that. Because right now, if you look at for Oculus Rift games on the PC, you're going to find a lot of them, but they're from little one-man shows or little indie developers. So personally, I think it's Oculus Rift that has the best chance of making any real headway with it, especially now that they've got what $2 billion basically in the bank.
Yeah, and Facebook
So
like constantly funding them to make this project a success.
yeah, that's one of the things that people weren't or paying any attention to. Going that they were putting out these development kits just to keep money to be able to keep paying for everything. Now they've got more money than they'll ever need, and and you have the power behind Facebook. Hate to tell you, but they're a major driving force, and if they want to step into the gaming realm, they might be something to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm just not seeing how the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One will be able to do VR because PC will be able to do it fine because of all the power. But on a console, there's just not enough power there because with VR you need to render two different images on for each eye, and so that's like you need double the rendering power, and a lot of these games are struggling to hit 720p, 900p, and if you had to split that in half, it's like you're looking at 360 and PS3 graphics on these VR headsets.
Yeah, well, and a major deal there is with the headsets, you do, from what I understand from the Oculus Rift, you do need to hit 1080p, and I don't think you can drop below 60 frames because I think that's part of people getting nauseous. It was dropping below that.
Yeah, you really need
Well,
a high frame rate.
well, is this like official for the Oculus Rifts to come onto the PS4 and Xbox platforms? Is that like official?
No,
Uh, Oculus Rift is straight PC, and it's uh, like Sony making whatever version that they have. So
Well, we like the new consoles that just came out after what was it, like 10 years or so. We could see this in the next 10 years on a new console with better processor, better frame rate, all that stuff to make it work for the Oculus Rift so we can have 1080p, 60 frames.
I have a feeling it's going to be like how if you look at all the consoles, like if you look at the 360 and the PS3, it seems like each year they beta test almost something, and then next generation they perfect it. Like with the 360 and PS3, they were kind of messing around with Connect-based stuff, and then they were also testing around like digital games to download. But now the next generation, the Connect is a lot better. You got a lot better online ecosystem to download games. If you look at all the games on Xbox and PlayStation, you can download them all day one. And I feel like that's gonna be a lot like these VR headsets where they're kind of beta tested and stuff like that, but it won't become perfected or a household thing until the next generation.
yeah, well, and plus my real mindset is that we're quickly reaching the point where we really can't go higher resolution wise. Going, yeah, you can go get a 4K TV, but how big does that sucker have to be? And does that actually immerse you anymore? We're starting to hit that threshold of photorealism graphics, and the major question is where do we go from there? And to me, the only real answer is stepping into full VR.
hmm And it's more about like since we're getting these photorealistic games, it's more upon the story to innovate because look at movies, they all look photorealistic because they are, and they're still doing somewhat well, but it's because these stories in the movies that make it do so well.
Though one of the things that I think that gives gaming such a huge advantage of it is, yeah, they tell a lot of the same stories, but they immerse you in ways that movies never can. That's why the gaming industry makes more than double um, movies and Blu-rays purchases combined. Movie theaters and the movies themselves. So,
Yeah, if you look at Destiny's new budget for their game, they're getting $500 million for their whole budget. That's insane.
phew, that better be
Wow.
one badass game.
I mean, you got to factor in that's also including marketing costs and stuff like that, but that's still a ton of money.
I don't even think MMOs cost that much. I don't. I would be really surprised if Elder Scrolls Online hit 300 million, and that game was in development for 7 years.
hmm Activision's really putting a big bet on this game, and I think I heard they have to sell like 13 million copies to make their money back.
And there goes back to my earlier point why I think indie developers are going to move forward because they have small budgets. They don't have to produce numbers that high to make money.
Hmm. So I guess we got a commenter requesting about COD 2015 and what needs to be there. And I feel like it's a little too early because we still don't even know what COD 2014 Advanced Warfare is going to be including in all that.
We don't even know what's gonna be. What's it gonna be? What's it going to look like? We don't know any of that information yet. We only seen one trailer and a couple images.
My first thought was don't release a COD in 2015. Take your time to make something worthwhile.
But now,
Because
oh god,
because right now they're just spitting them out once a year. Call of Duty Ghost, they were going brand new engines. Like, well, no, it's just updated. They actually need to put a little bit of TLC into after this year.
yeah, and I feel like this one could be a big game because now that they have 3 developers in this cycle, it gives them an extra year. So before you only had 2 years, now you have 3 years, and this could really help out the COD series to get more polished games, more immersive games almost.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of needed, is because someone else had put out the deal that COD has got this vicious cycle. As everyone's excited for the next one, it comes out 2 weeks later, everyone hates it and goes to the one before it. You know,
That's basically what happens every single year. Everyone would go out, buy the COD, go home, play it for 2 weeks or a month, love it, and then as soon as that's over, hate the game and go back to old COD. Once the new trailer comes out, everyone gets so hyped back up, goes to buy the new game, hates it, and then goes back to the old one. It just keeps going over and over and over.
yeah, and really, I'll state the same thing on the lines of Battlefield. Because they're more or less doing the same thing, and they need to take more time with it, at the very least, to make it so it's not a buggy mess when it gets released. That's I think gonna hurt their numbers the most.
Yeah, and I feel like the first-person shooter category really took a big beating the last year or so because look at you got the 2 biggest first-person shooters really did terrible this year. You got Ghost and Battlefield 4, which overall customer satisfaction was really low, and people really didn't like these games.
Yeah, as far as shooters go, first person, I'm still personally playing Team Fortress 2, but other than that, I'm playing Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, where it's third person, but everything is tactical. You can't, it's not run and gun, and after a while, to me, run and guns just in general get boring rather quick.
Uh-huh. I'm just wondering, have you ever played Titanfall? Do you play it on your PC or whatever?
No, I haven't gotten around to trying it out yet. It
And
does look interesting.
it's pretty fun, but the thing is with Titanfall is it can't really hold you in there. Like if you look at some older CODs and stuff like that, it feels like you play it and like you completely lose time and like you keep playing. I think with Titanfall there's the lack of guns and customization that some of these other games have.
Well, and plus, one of the things I was hearing about is what you got to go through to unlock the other Titans. And more, I'm hearing that those games are getting harder and harder to get into. So they need to figure out another way for you to unlock your other Titans. Because from what I understand, those choices are boring on top of everything else.
Basically, you just have to. What you do to get the Titans is play campaign, but mostly everyone has basically got their Titans and they're done playing the campaign mode. I don't see that there's a lot of people actually playing the campaign. Therefore, you can't have a lobby to play that and then have the other people get their Titans.
Yeah, because I was going on there today, and I was trying to get an achievement to play and win all the campaign missions, and I couldn't get in any of the lobbies for the campaign because no one was playing the campaign still.
Yeah, the online campaign thing was a cool idea on paper, but I think they need to make it single player so that way everyone can unlock them.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I feel like with Titanfall being multiplayer only and the campaign is like basically multiplayer too, it really turned off a lot of people that play single player games only. And I saw a stat saying that over 60% of the people on Xbox only play the single player of some of these multiplayer focused games.
Yeah, and that's kind of it. Is going like one of the biggest games out. Skyrim. Everyone's going. I want just a multiplayer version of that. It's like, well, even if that came out, chances are you wouldn't play it. You
Yeah.
know.
And I kind of like how Watch Dogs is doing their game with single player and multiplayer kind of mixed in because you can be playing your single player and then all of a sudden some guy joins your lobby and is hacking you. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think Dark Souls 2 is doing something along those lines as well. There's,
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, that's another game that I want to get my hands on, but haven't got around to it yet.
And Destiny's doing the same thing too. You can be playing your game and then all of a sudden you get these like public fights and stuff like that. And I think that's the future of these games. You're going to be integrating the two single player and multiplayer into one experience.
Yeah, so who knows? Maybe eventually it'd be like just about every game is really an MMO. You just don't call it that anymore.
Uh-huh. Uh so that looks like about everything for this first week podcast. We're gonna be doing this every week as we can, and if you haven't already, make sure you check out all three of our channels. I'll have them linked down in the description below, and I'll see you next week.
Yeah, have fun and thank you for watching.
See you guys.
I didn't hear yet.
Yeah, I only have the chat panel. Do we have